the news. I saw it in the news. What are the odds that you saw it too? What are the odds? What are the odds? Hey, Tony P, what are the odds?
Folks, if you look closely, if you look very closely at the video, through the blurred part, not the black nerd, there's a blurry part in the beginning of the video. It's because I'm normally posing for the thumbnail, doing something silly, so I blur it out. How is it going, everyone? How are you doing? I hope you are well. It's a nice day here today as I look out my window, as we talked about last week. Not actually step outside, but look out the window. That's not true. That is not true. I stepped outside yesterday. My buddy Charles was and still is in town. I'll probably publish this tonight. So, I try not to put people's business out there. But if you're listening to this and you're in Orlando, keep an eye out. You might see Charles, the director of the digital media track at DragonCon, hanging around in Orlando. So what do you do when one comes to Orlando? Simple. You go to Disney Springs. That's like the thing to do, right? Like, you go to Springs. Everyone go to Springs. If you're not familiar, I don't know if I've talked about it on the show before or not, but Disney Springs is like, I call it the Disney Mall. It's basically like a super giant outdoor mall. It's kind of like I feel like it's legitimately its own little city. Like, you come down this escalator, man, there's whatever the heck you can think of. It kind of looks like the Vegas Strip without the casinos. There's probably like 30 different restaurants, a World of Coke, a bowling alley, a movie theater. I don't know how many freaking stores. And then the stores like blend together. Like, there's like two stores combined in one building. You'll walk in one store, you'll walk out a different store. You're like, did we go there? I don't know. Does it have the pins? Is that the keychain store? Is that the left-handed store? Are those the cars that go in the water? All of these are real things at Disney Springs. It's not my favorite place in the world, man, but it's super fun when somebody's never been, especially when they want to buy gifts and things for their family, because that means I can shop without spending my own money. I don't shop. I don't buy things. I don't really collect a lot of things, but this person has a wife and some kids. I don't know, 4, 5, 6, I don't know. I lose track, but, so we got to go shop for the family, man. And that was fun. Like, that was super fun, where I could just point at stuff like Michael Jackson when he was at Vegas, like, give me one of those. And then my friend bought it, but it wasn't quite like that. But I was like, hey, man, the kids might like this. So, yeah, we had a blast, man. We got to catch up. Got to have some dinner. I went to a really nice steak place, had a delicious steak. I've been trying to eat better lately, so I was like really excited about that dang steak, man. And it was delicious. It was a good time catching up with some friends and shopping. And so that was it. I got out the house. So I didn't do that today. Today was in the house. But that's why. Y'all, today as I record this, it's Tuesday. I think it was Saturday, man. So that would have been a few days ago. I went to an art house theater in Orlando. First time I've been meaning to check it out, but I never went. And saw Moon Age Daydream. That is the new David Bowie documentary. I use the term documentary loosely. It's like a visual. It's almost, man, it's hard to explain. It's real footage of David Bowie. It's David Bowie's voice through the whole thing. But like they put like visuals and clips and art, and I think it was described as a kaleidoscope. It's as weird and trippy as you would expect from something about David Bowie. But it's documentary enough with enough clips and him talking that it feels like a documentary. I definitely learned some things I didn't know about Bowie, but in a fun and entertaining way. It's like a 2-hour music video. Let's put it to you like that. It's like a 2-hour music video. So that was super fun. The movie was great. The theater was great. It was a good time. But I say all that to say it's a little too much out of the house. But speaking of Bowie, we got an interesting story this week. Ground control to Major Tom. 7, 6. All right, I won't do that whole bit. A man claiming to be a Russian astronaut in space, allegedly scammed a Japanese woman into paying for his return trip to Earth. Apparently, he asked for some money, but he vowed to marry her once he landed. The man found the 65-year-old unnamed victim on Instagram in June, and on his profile, he uploaded random photos of space and said he worked at the International Space Station, where astronauts have limited access to cell phone service. So before we even get into this, a couple things. Whenever anybody that tells you they have limited access to cell service, like where in the world could you possibly be? Well, in this case, space. But I'm always, that's like my first red flag. Hey man, our internet's not good here. Where are you at? You know, where are you at? That, like, are you in the Amazon jungle? So whenever someone tells you that, be wary. However, this guy said he was in space, and I'm not going to make fun of this woman. Unfortunately, the story's hilarious. I'm going to make fun of the guy faking he was an astronaut, but unfortunately, man, you know, a lot of people get scammed. You know, when they just want to meet somebody or they're lonely. It's one of the biggest things, man, scammers pick up on is lonely folks. So I feel bad for this lady. I'm not making fun of her, but I am going to read this story and I am going to chuckle a bit at him. The relationship quickly escalated. Okay, so this word is online, but it's split up. It's two words. It took me 10 times of looking at that. I was like, what is online? What? Online? Yeah, they were online. But apparently, there's a Japanese messaging app called Line. So they were on the Japanese messaging app. Thus, on Line, a Japanese messaging app, he repeatedly said he loved her and proposed marriage. He sent her messages like, I want to start my life in Japan, and saying this 1,000 times won't be enough. I'll keep saying it. Believing this man would be her future fiancé, the woman paid him about $30,000 in 5 installments over the span of about 2 weeks, according to a Japanese newspaper. But that's how they get you, man. I've watched enough of these scammer documentaries where it's never one and done. It's never, once they get you in the hook, man, there's always more. There's always more. But when his demands continued, the woman grew a little suspicious. She reported him to the police, who are investigating the case as a romance scam. I feel like, you know, man, everybody's like an internet, Facebook, social media stalker. I feel like it's pretty easy to figure out if somebody's an astronaut or not. I mean, there aren't that many astronauts, right? Like, you know, like, how many astronauts do you even have with like the same name? You know, like, I know Yuri. Like, all right, let's look at the astronaut list. How many Yuris can be on the list? Romance scams, when a criminal creates a fake online identity to gain a victim's trust to dupe them, have been increasing in Japan. That's sad. That stinks, man. I feel like there's a lot of pressure in Japan to, you know, start a family and find somebody. And so people prey on that pressure. Though Japanese police do not collect data specific to romance scams, the number of fraud cases, which include romance scams, rose from about 8,000 to doubled to about 15,000 over the course of 3 or 4 years. Oh, no, I can't math. Over the course of 10 years. It's doubled in about a course of 10 years. The reason I can't math is because it said 2012, and I was like, well, we're not, you know, what are we in, like 2015? I have no idea what day it is. Anyway, so those are up to, is that the whole story? Oh, come on. I've mentioned, I sincerely do not read these stories ahead of time because I want to read them live. I want to experience it and talk about it as I'm reading it. And the past few weeks, they've been catching me off guard, man. Like, is that it? It's done? There's no conclusion. Like, it just, okay, so was he in space? What if he really was in space? Well, that'd be like, oh man, he's trying to scam me. but he was actually a dude in space with limited internet. You may joke, but in case you haven't known, hot off the presses if you haven't heard it, Adnan Syed from Serial just got out of jail after, I think he got put in 99. Tells you I don't do math. I'm not giving 30 some odd years, man, for a crime he didn't commit. They finally did some DNA testing, and so there's no way he could have been there. They would have found his DNA. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe this guy really is an astronaut, space cadet, ground control to Major Yuri.